You are listening to an audio excerpt of Snow Angels by Wendy Davy, available now from Pelican Book Group, www.pelicanbookgroup.com.
Isabel Rollins lay flat on her back, looking up at the blinding snow falling from the darkened sky. Of all the foolish ways to die, this one was sure to come out on top. "You had to take one last run before the slopes closed, didn't you, Izzy?" she chastised herself. The wind picked up its speed as snowflakes began to fall at an angle, sticking to her freezing cheeks. She swiped the flakes off her goggles and attempted to remove a patch of fog drifting over the lenses. Sheets of ice underneath the snow threatened to suck the remaining heat from her body as she continued to lie on the iceberg they dared to call a ski slope. Frustration and regret slammed her. If she had used her common sense and not gone night skiing alone, she might have lived long enough to earn the respect she had been seeking. Instead, she was going to freeze to death on an unforgiving pile of ice. She peeled her shivering arm from the slope and checked her watch, straining to see the numbers through the darkness. 9:43. It had been close to an hour since her skis had hit the patch of ice, sending her careening out of control and into the forest. By now, the ski patrollers would have already finished their last sweep of the mountain, searching for any lost, injured, or slow skiers that remained on the slopes. They had probably passed by her several minutes ago while she had been trying to recover from her fall. Counting herself lucky not to have broken any limbs or suffered serious injuries, she ignored the pain from her numerous bumps and bruises as she forced herself into a sitting position. The sore places would heal with time. Healing her injured pride would be another matter altogether, if she survived. She peered through the darkness at the advanced ski slope she had been attempting to master, searching for any glimpse of a red ski coat. She hoped a ski patroller had decided to take another sweep down the mountain, and she hoped she had been wrong about her slim chances of survival. Realism outmatched her optimism as she reminded herself the lights had been switched off and the chairlifts had stopped moving, leaving no room for any realistic expectations of a rescue. Especially since she hadn't told anyone she planned to come out on the slopes tonight. As the strong wind shifted into a driving gale and the freezing temperature plummeted to what she guessed were sub-zero figures, a surge of fear coursed through her veins, bringing with it a hefty amount of adrenaline. Every nerve in her body switched into survival mode. Every molecule became alert. Her survival instincts took over, and she forced herself to her boot-laden feet. "Lord, you know I've gotten myself into some messes, and I've always counted on you to help me out. How about one more time?" She mumbled the prayer through frozen lips. Izzy took a deep breath, swiped at her runny nose, and searched beyond the base of the slope for an indication of a house or another building. No lights or other signs of civilization penetrated the falling snow. She turned to search the top of the rugged terrain. None of the villas and chalets tucked around the trees on the mountaintop showed any glowing lights or shadowed silhouettes to indicate their exact locations. She considered her options. If she could make her way to the end of the trail, she could use the telephone inside the chairlift building to call for help. But if she slid off the edge of the ski run again and into the thick line of trees, she would freeze to death. Her fingers and toes began to feel numb. She would have to make a decision soon, or she would turn into a human popsicle right where she stood. Stepping into her ski bindings and positioning her poles in her gloved hands, she took one more glance up the hill. She guessed the trip downhill would be a great deal easier than sidestepping up the slope to the top. Praying she had made the right decision, she pushed away, determined to keep her legs under her as she descended the mountain. She thrust her legs to the side, slicing the snow first way and then the next, as she traversed the steep terrain. But, with her vision hindered, navigating the moguls in the dark proved to be treacherous. She came close to falling twice before she finally lost her balance and landed on her rear in a bone-smacking fall. She gave herself no time to recover before climbing back to her feet, afraid if she hesitated, fear would take control of her rational thoughts and keep her from attaining her goal. As she continued down the slippery slope, the snow fell thicker and faster, restraining her vision further. After a few more close calls, Izzy reached the end. "Thank you, Lord!" She swished to a stop near the chairlift building, sending clumps of snow careening to thump against the wooden shack. She released her skis and shoved her poles into the hard-packed snow. Cupping her hands together, she peered into the fathomless insides of the small building. Nothing but pitch darkness greeted her. She tried the door, locked. Her heart rate doubled its pace as anxiety spiked through her system.
We hope you've enjoyed this excerpt of Snow Angels by Wendy Davy, available now from Pelican Book Group, www.pelicanbookgroup.com.